Hello, welcome to a live stream. Let me pull up the comments. This is an unannounced live stream. And we're going to be doing some printing. We have a light that's overhead. This isn't the ideal streaming setup. Try to get that out of the glare. But we're going to be doing some easy printing today. Just this little piece here. Again, this is an unannounced stream, so there might not be many people here. But I figured I'd just turn on the camera while I'm working here for 20 minutes or half an hour just to say hello and show you what I've been working on. Something familiar if you've been following along on these streams. Something you've seen before, but slightly different. So I have a green, a warm green tone mixed up here. And I'm printing another edition of a print of the gunks. I've been getting a lot of people that are still interested in this print. And this is the completed print from before. And so I'm going to print it again, but just change the colors up a little bit. So I'm printing this little green grass area at the top of this cliff. And this is what I've got so far printed. So you can see the sky is more blue. And I only have one impression down on the ground plane, but there'll be a second impression here. I got a base tone for the rocks. And I'm printing this little green area here. So it's going to be similar, but a little bit different. I think I got about 20 of these in the edition. And I'm printing on that warm Kitakata paper. I'll take this off. So welcome if anyone's here. There's a couple people here. So nothing too exciting, but I just wanted to turn the camera on and say hello while I work a little bit here. So let's get this printed and see what it looks like. So first I have 2 sets of Kento marks here. Not exactly sure which ones. That's not the one, it's this one. I hope. Let's see. That seems right. So we just need a cover, probably need a cover sheet. And I'm actually gonna get a different bearing. I don't need that big mechanical ball bearing. Just need a regular bearing for this one. Let's see what this color looks like. It's a little dark. Kind of want it a little bit lighter, I think. You can compare it to our last print. It's hard to tell. It's a little warmer, but that's okay. We're trying to change the color slightly. If anything, I just make it a little lighter, a little bit more blue. So I get out of my light here, my light source. Just gonna add a little bit of blue. This is like a cobalt blue, like a fake cobalt blue, and a little white. I ran out of white from my tubes, so I have this old tin of white, and it's not ideal because Look at that, it's a mess inside. And with this mess comes lots of little chunks of dried ink. I never took care of this tin of ink. So I'm just going to lighten this and add a little bit of blue. Should be good to go. Got a tiny little glass palette here tonight. I don't usually stream at this time of day, but with my new schedule, you might be seeing me at this time more often. Gotta add a little bit more white. Trying to find some clean white. That should be good. Put this thing away. Yeah, you don't want your tin of inks to look like that. So how's everyone out there today? Got a couple people on here, 2 people maybe. I tried to post on Instagram on my story, but it wouldn't let me post my story for some reason for the last like half an hour. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I figured I'd just turn the camera on and do a live stream anyways. So if you're new here, we're doing woodblock printmaking. This is oil-based pigment. I'm using some wood. It's a Shina plywood. And I'm gonna roll this ink, clean this roller. It's a little dark, this color. I'm just gonna roll it out here. I'll print this one again with the new color. This is very light compared to the last color. See the difference here. Much cooler and much more light. But I think that's what I want. So let's see how it goes. So I'm just gonna, first I'm gonna clean my finger, have white ink on it. So as I was saying before, I've had a lot of people that are still interested in this print, and I didn't want to make exactly the same color scheme because I had a limited edition run on this, the previous color scheme. So I'm changing this one slightly. This is the 4th color scheme that I have printed of this design. So you can really reuse these blocks and make multiple prints that are slightly different. And that's a nicer tone for me, I think. Green tone. I'm liking that so far. We can compare it. Did I just get this? No, that's from... So let's compare it to our last edition that we printed a few months ago. I printed this in late October. So you can see that the sky is a little bit more blue. So there's some similarity, but they'll be definitely different. So hopefully people are interested in this one. I've had a couple people reach out to me and ask for more of these night scenes. So this is all we're doing tonight. This is tonight's work. It's very simple. Should take me about 20 minutes or half an hour from printing 20 of these. And And this paper has a slight natural beige or yellow tone to it, so it makes that moon stand out. Hello, Ben. He's the first person to comment. Thank you, Ben. So when I lay my print down, I always touch the spot where I'm going to be printing gently, and it sticks the paper to the ink, and then the paper doesn't move. I enjoy printing these small little color areas because it's really easy. It's low stress, and you can just get into a rhythm and just knock them out real quick. And the mixing of the color was easy. Just had to adjust it once. A little bit of cleanup, easy palette to clean. Can easily clean this roller in about 2 minutes. So this is low stress printing tonight, which is perfect for a Monday evening. Again, I tried to post on Instagram on my story to announce this live stream about a half an hour ago, and it wouldn't let me for some reason. It just kept thinking. Tried like 2 or 3 times. I closed the application, turned it back on, opened it back up. Still didn't work. So I just turned the camera on anyways. And most people are watching these live streams on the replay, which I'll be posting. I've been posting them the next day. I'll wait till the next day to post them. My last one actually has been doing pretty well. Starting another block showed the carving, which I haven't made much progress on. I'd say I'm about 1/3 of the way finished with the carving. So I got to get to work on that. But I've just been distracted with a lot of other things. But people keep emailing me about this print, so I was like, you know, I got to just make this print. I'm also going to submit this print into another exhibition, and the deadline is fast approaching. So I want to finish this, and I'll be able to submit it to an exhibition. Been interested in lots of new things lately. Like, I've been getting into gouache painting and watercolor painting. But I've also been getting into just some art history, reading some books about art history, mostly medieval art. And I was reading a book about printmaking in medieval times, moving into the Renaissance period, or like the Albrecht Dürer period, and how woodblock printmaking was kind of the start of printmaking for Western society. And then once they found out how to use engraving and etching, they kind of did away with woodblock prints. And then, of course, the removable type, the printing press took over, and then woodblock printmaking was essentially dead. So woodblock printmaking, at least in the Western, it was around for a while, maybe 400 or 500 years, I think, something like that. Yeah, so I just started this book. I actually found it at my place of work, and I'll find out the title of it. It was written by someone who worked at the Met, and it's going over the history of printing. And I've been taking notes, and I don't have the dates off the top of my head, but it's an interesting book so far. And it kind of just puts the perspective and describes the time period of printing and how printing has evolved. And not so much artistic printing, just printmaking for communicating and for humanity and for the development and advancement of information, how to mass produce books so people could, not the wealthy and not religious figures only could read and write. We owe printing, getting to the masses information. When making a book became affordable, and more people could access information, is really what advanced our culture. But it all stems back to woodblock printmaking. And then woodblock printmaking in Asia happened much, much earlier, or at least there's evidence, and there's actually existing works that are much earlier. And they're mostly Buddhist imagery, calligraphy, carved out of wood blocks. But I've been interested in the history of printmaking. Yeah, this book kind of covers, it's not just the Renaissance, it kind of covers the whole Western printmaking. It starts from discussing the Greek and Romans and their culture and how they actually didn't want to write down and document scientific information. They'd rather just keep it by word of mouth. And they would overanalyze pretty much everything. But how in the medieval times, or in the Dark Ages or Middle Ages, so many more advancements happened because people were forced to invent new ideas. I've got a blotch of ink right there, but there's going to be lots of dark areas over this, so you're not going to see it. So if we look on our print, it's right next to this rock here. You won't even see it, so I'm not too worried about it. Anyways, I'm not communicating clearly what I'm trying to say. I'm losing my train of thought. But the book's really interesting. But I will kind of sum it up, I think, and I'll clarify the book and maybe do like a review on it or something. Once I get all my dates in order and kind of put it all. But what I was saying was in the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages or the medieval ages, medieval times, human beings actually, culture advanced so much in that time period. As an example, is they developed the idea of a V plow and harnesses for animals, for horses in particular, and utilizing animal power and plowing fields was invented in the medieval times, and you were able to grow agriculture and farm much faster. And a horse's saddle was developed in the medieval times with stirrups. You know, the Greeks and Romans, they used to ride their horses, but with no stirrups. So they were constantly struggling while riding the animal. And correct me if I'm wrong, but those are just two examples of things that happened in the medieval times. So this is going to be a short stream. Just wanted to turn the camera on and say hello. Just wanted to check in. I did post a YouTube video today. It's nothing too exciting. It's just me teaching how I transfer some images to blocks. I get a lot of questions about how I transfer my images to blocks. So I'm just trying to get a couple videos out there that cover that process extensively. So when people ask me about it, I can refer them to the videos. I've been drawing a lot too, just in my spare time. Mostly line drawing. Been looking at a lot of Albrecht Dürer and a lot of other graphic artists that use line to build up value. I really enjoy that kind of drawing. It's very relaxing for me. I haven't been drawing anything serious, I've just been doodling. Looking at the Da Vinci drawings, Dürer woodcuts. Been researching some how to carve letters in wood using like V-gouges, you know, like a Times or a Roman style lettering, and like the proper way to cut letters into wood. So I'm researching that a little bit. I might have a project coming up where I'll be carving some letters into a wood surface, which I think would be a good skill to have. It's a nice green color. Only have a few more, and then let's say goodbye. Say goodnight. Maybe at the end I can show you, I can do a little show and tell. Something I'll find something in my studio to show you. This is just oil-based ink. It's Cranfield. I'll show you here. Cranfield Traditional Relief Inks. So far, this is the best ink that I've found. I don't like the tins because they become a mess. You have to really maintain them. These tubes are much easier to, they're smaller, but they're easier to maintain. I'm not very good at keeping tubes clean, especially like oil paints and watercolor paints. I never clean around the edges. So I try to be a little bit more organized. So I'm missing a little printing down there. So I think I just missed it with the Baron. So we can just go right back down into our registration again. And this will be perfectly lined up. Be sure to get that bottom area. Let's see. Got like 4 or 5 more. This goes quick. But man, the last month, for the last 4 weeks, I've been working at the Met in the medieval department, and I've just been learning so many things every day about new artwork that I never really paid attention to, like stained glass and manuscripts. Being exposed to a lot of different imagery. There's just so much to learn, and I get inspired by everything. So it's easy to get distracted. Off topic. Off topic. Yeah, I think Sumi can go bad a little bit. I've had some where, you know, I've had it for probably, I don't know, more than 4 or 5 years. And it started to smell really funky. And yeah, I would say if it's chunky or if it smells funky, chunky or funky, chuck it. Get some new stuff. It's not that expensive. Get some new materials, new inks. Or save it and use it for something that's not important. Maybe do some like experimental drawings, or, you know, fill up some old sketchbooks with some like textures, or do something with it that you don't really care about. Wow, I forgot to ink my block. So I printed, and that's what happened. So I think I loaded the roller, and then I never applied it to the block. It's been a long day. All right, one more, and then we're done for the evening. Tomorrow I'm gonna have to print the brown part of the trees. I think that's what goes next. And then the whole surface will be covered in the first layer. And then I have to do the ground plane, 2 colors for the trees, and the black, oh, a gray color, and then black. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more colors to go after this, right? So we have to do this layer one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then black. So six more to go. They go pretty quick though. All right, so that's it. What do we got? We got something to show? Let's see. Let's show these. A little show and tell real quick. A little bit off topic, but why not? There's only a few people here, it doesn't really matter. So I started doing some watercolors again, and I was just experimenting. I might have shown some of these already. Started to experiment, and I'm not very good at watercolors. There's the technique that I don't practice very often. So I just started picking some images off of out of my photo library. This is like a Niagara Falls scene. And then I moved on to the sunset scene of the Gunks. It's really hard to keep the paint transparent. And then I did a very quick, which I think this one's actually quite successful, just really loose, like abstract skyscape with some land at the bottom. Just trying to keep the brushwork loose. And then I did one that's a little bit more tightly painted and rendered, this like farm scene, which I quite like this one. It's a little too tight for me. I'm looking for some like loose, like really loose. There's some areas that are nice, like in here, there's some nice areas that are going on. I kind of like the sky, how simple the sky is. That was a nice little wash. And then I did this one, and I overworked this one, I think. It was really nice. And then I kind of overworked this little island here. And I wish I would have left it when it was like started. But again, I like the sky in this, how I just kind of leave it, washed it in and left it alone. Again, there's some nice areas, like down here in the water. There's some nice little areas, I think. But I definitely overworked. I'm getting too dark with the medium. It needs to be lighter and more transparent. So this is what I've been working on the last couple weeks. These are just simple paintings. I'm not taking too long with them. Maybe just like an hour of actual work time. But my goal was to do like 10 that are about this size. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, I have 5 so far that are roughly the same size. So I'm gonna have 5 more to do, and then I'm gonna do a little critique and see what I've learned. And I bought some new brushes. That's what inspired me to do some watercolors. Let me show you. Yeah. Check these out. So these brushes here, these were cheap. They're like $5 each or something, $6 each. These Yaso Tomo from Dick Blick or Blick.com. These are cheap. They're okay. They've been losing their bristles. I've had some of these in the past, but I got some nice brushes. This is a Princeton Neptune. This thing is awesome. You can get super detailed with the tips of these brushes. So the bristles inside are a little bit more stiff. And you can get super detailed, or you could really load it on. And same thing with this one. This is a Atelier Squirrel Blend Quill. And man, these things are awesome. So these two brushes here is pretty much all you need. You can get a really broad stroke. You can do large washes, or you can get super fine details with just the edges or the tips of the bristles. So these are really cool. So it's amazing how just buying a couple new brushes can inspire you to make new work. So that's what I've been doing, getting distracted from my printmaking. So thanks for joining me tonight. Thanks for watching my YouTube video if you saw it today. If not, turn this off and go watch it now. And I will see you in the next one. I don't know, I'll try to keep turning on my camera. We have one more comment. He's been having issues. I've been trying to use watercolor for my woodblock prints. I've had trouble with adhering well to the paper. Well, what kind of paper are you using is probably more like it, and if you're doing multiple layers, and also the quality of your watercolor pigments are all questions and concerns. So yes, you need to have the right kind of paper. You need a paper that's going to absorb if you're doing woodblock printmaking. He's using mulberry paper. So mulberry paper is very absorbing, but it's maybe not the right paper unless it's sized. Is the mulberry paper sized, or is it just bleeding in and getting soaking wet? Because mulberry paper usually is not sized, meaning there's no glue in the paper. So with this watercolor paper that I just had, this is the opposite of, this is sized, but it's sized inside and throughout the whole process. It's super sized so that if you put a big drop of water on here, it's just gonna sit on top of the paper, that water. It's gonna take a long time to absorb in because there's a surface sizing as well. So this is like internally sized, meaning it's inside the fibers, but it's also treated on the top so that this watercolor, it really doesn't absorb into the paper very much. It kind of sits right on top. But the paper that I'm using today, this is similar to your mulberry paper. This is Kitakata, and it's from a natural fiber, but there's no sizing in this. It's just the pure fibers. So if I just dampen the paper like a little bit, it just soaks into the paper. And if that's happening to you, then you got to size this paper. You got to put glue on. But we'll talk more about this next time. But watch some of my videos. They talk about paper a little bit. Or email me if you find my website. Go to my website and you can email me questions, and I'd be happy to help you. But for now, I gotta run. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye.